for a warm welcome, MC, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Itsara Singhara, a third-year student from Bachelor of Education in English, Nakhon Ratchasima, Rajabhat University. Once upon a time, there was a little boy who would like to practice his English communication skills. So he decided to volunteer himself to be a liaison officer for the Indian team of 2014 Asian Youth Girl Volleyball Championship. One day, the coach asked him to adjust the net. After doing it, the boy asked if it was okay, but the coach shook his head. Ladies and gentlemen, what would you think if you were that boy? The boy felt unsure if he had done it correctly. For me, if it faced that, I would search for the meaning of the action, and that boy did so because that boy is me. So I have learned the fact that the in-head shake means they are communicating with us, and in that context, the coach said yes. So after that, I felt the passion of learning and sharing cultures and volunteered myself to be a liaison officer for people from several countries. From those experiences, apart from rooms for improving my English skills, there are also the spaces for me to realize that learning and sharing cultures is really important for three main areas: international relations, national realization, and self-actualization. Most evidently, ladies and gentlemen, learning and sharing cultures can smooth the pathway for good international relations. Cross-cultural communication among the country leaders is a very good example. Imagine the leader of country A pointed his finger to the leader of country B, and the gesture was considered rude for people in country B. There's no doubt that the relations between those two countries might not go very well if both leaders were not aware of the cultural differences. Don't you think so? Therefore, learning and sharing cultures is a really important element which allow the leaders to learn how to act out suitably and also helps them to see each other with understanding. Learning and sharing cultures is not only beneficial in the state of states, but also among people of countries. Ladies and gentlemen, as the citizens of our countries, I do believe that all of us have had and been faced with nationalism, especially when we have some cultural conflicts with others to claim some heritages. But I invested time in the discussion group on board the ship for Southeast Asian and Japanese Youth Program on cross-cultural understanding promotion. And I have learned that two countries claim the same thing because they share the historical and cultural backgrounds. So instead of wounds, I see those conflicts as bonds. Moreover, I also learned to celebrate the diversity. I learned to be punctual as Japanese, humble as a Laotian, entertaining as a Filipino, and others also learn how to smile as sweet as Thai people. These merges to touch the goal of international relations. In another dimension, ladies and gentlemen, learning and sharing cultures also motivates us to realize the identities of our nations. This is because we can see not only what cultures look like, but also how they have been being changed. So, I have learned that nowadays, the globalization is eroding some identities of my beloved country, Thailand. For example, the Western music affects the traditional Thai songs, such as the country song, or in Thai we call Luk Thung, so heavily. But thanks to the flexibility of Thai people, we share the concept of Thai songs to merge with the Western styles. So nowadays, although they are not that original, Thai people still get joyful with Luk Thung or country songs in contemporary styles. So learning and sharing cultures teaches us how to negotiate with the globalization to maintain the identities of our nations. Last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, learning and sharing cultures also supports us to reach the state of self-actualization. All of us have our own cultures which may be different from the norms of our societies. So we can learn what other people share and bring what we have learned to observe ourselves so that we can put ourselves in the right place at the right time for our characteristics. To illustrate this, I'll give you an example. If we prefer the equality, and we know that, we should avoid working in a hierarchical atmospheres. So this means that when we reach the state of self-actualization, we can prevent the conflicts we may encounter in the societies or even inside ourselves. In summary, ladies and gentlemen, the good international relations, the great national realization, and the glorious self-actualization can demonstrate that learning and sharing cultures is really, really essential. And they're reminded that cultures are one part of human beings. Some are evident, but some are hidden behind like an iceberg. There's a saying which says that, don't be the Titanic. Don't be ignorant to the cultural themes that are invisible under the water. So I encourage all of you, ladies and gentlemen, learn and share cultures, then sail our lives through several destinations of happiness. Thank you.